Satnamji. So grateful that you're here buzzing with us at the Beehive. We have a very interesting combination of energies weaving. So thank you so much for sharing this video, for liking it, for subscribing. I'm very grateful for your presence and all that you're doing for your growth, for us to really scoop into this collective growth. As the wisdom weaver, I am always weaving every bit of wisdom that I can receive, that I can embrace from my heart, and really holding the container for the collective to really evolve in weaving these energies with much love and much embodiment. So I'm going to start with Praying Mantis. So Praying Mantis is a very interesting animal medicine. This is one of the medicines that very long time ago, in the beginning of my working metaphysical and energy trainings and all of this kind of stuff that I do, Praying Mantis came very strongly at different times of my life, and it would kind of just come in, show itself up, and I would read about it, I would meditate about it, and because of my steady growth, I would really get a whole bunch of stuff that was very different every time that I bit into it. And that's what animal medicine is. You have totems that are always with you, and then we have these visiting totems that come in at particular times if you choose to, if you connect with energies and want to learn from them. And so that's what Praying Mantis has been for me. It's this sort of like a teacher showing up and guiding me in particular times at different areas of my life. So Praying Mantis is all about insight. It's about protection. It's about stillness. So through stillness, you can really embrace everything. So allowing the mind to calm down. And it's a lifelong lesson. I continue to practice, for sure. I continue to practice stillness. And some days are better than others. Some days my yoga practice, my meditation practice, my pranayama practice is better, and other days it's just really challenging. And just like every practice, it's not meant to be perfect. It's really meant to be. And so this is teachings of yoga really teach you that. And with everything, with automatic writing, with many other scrying, whatever it is that you choose to do, it's so important to come across and really be the student and have the humility to show up and do the very best that you can and not really expect perfection every single time. And it's okay to be aggravated, about whatever it is. And there's always a next day, there's always a next hour, there's always a next breath. So Praying Mantis really teaches you to the protection piece. I've had always challenging people around me, just like everybody else, and they have been definitely part of my working mastery within myself, really working with patience and various other spiritual principles. So protection, I actually just had this conversation with one of my clients recently. Protection is a very interesting thing, because when I began, and most light workers, if you are a light worker and you didn't know about it, if you are an empath, so I'm going to give you a few scoops on some of the different things that you can approach. So a lot of us have had childhood where we were misunderstood. Most people I meet, they were the oddball in their family. Most people did not have the energetic support for them to embrace their uniqueness and what I like to call weirdness. We all have our gifts, and it's qualified as weird, and thank goodness, thank goddess for my weirdness. I love being weird. I always loved being different, and I am grateful that I always had that for myself, because my parents never really supported me on any kind of metaphysical awakening, opening, or curiosity. Even though they were wonderful in many other ways, that was not part of my picture. So Praying Mantis in the beginning, as I realized, the more I started doing trainings, the more I started to become an empath, the more I started to absorb energies that didn't belong to me, and I didn't really know how to tune them out or turn them off or not absorb them. It was definitely a learning curve, and learning Reiki was the beginning of all of this. And through the years, as I have worked with many different techniques and have experienced growth within myself, I started to realize that if I need protection, that means that I am blocking myself. That means that there's a barrier, and there's stuff out there, and there's stuff in here, and things that are out there can't come in, and the things that are in here can't go out there. So when we're setting that kind of idea that we need to protect ourselves, it's very challenging, because then you have a belief system that means that you're being attacked in some way. And the truth is, sometimes you are. And the work then for mastery is recognizing how powerful you are and really working with spiritual principles. And prayer technology has done wonders for me in that regard. So when I started really realizing that I don't need any protection, because I am within me, there's nothing separate from the source, from creator, and I am connected fully and completely with that energy. So when I walk into situations where people can be parasitic, people can be a little bit on the vampire aspect, I don't feel anymore, because I have progressed and worked very, very diligently through the years to achieve this. And it's totally doable for everybody. I'm not special I'm wonderfully special, just like you are wonderfully specially you, your unique self. But the truth is, we're all the same. We all have very similar abilities. We just have different personalities, and we are propense to like and do certain things better than other people, and so there are tweaks there. But the truth is, if we start to recognize that there is only perfection within, and there's only unconditional love, then all of these energies that are coming in, I can just simply phase them out. And again, it is a practice. So if I am being boggled down with a situation and challenging personalities show up, it's going to be a real exercise for me to achieve mastery. And guess what? The universe does throw curves at us so that we can learn, and nothing is ever in a controlled environment in a perfect setting that way. Perfection is really very imperfect. And so recognizing that as I become more and more comfortable with being uncomfortable, I'm doing my work. I'm doing my work for myself. I'm doing my work for my family, organization, church, neighborhood, you name it. So understanding that there is always going to be more learning and more growth in this area is really important. So I started, for a long time now, whenever I do protection work, I really work with protecting myself from my own ego, from my own monkey mind, as we say it in Kundalini Yoga, from my limitations, from my beliefs that I am limited in some way, shape, or form, my lack mentality, which most of us have. So really recognizing that only I can protect myself from my egoic mind, and there are different practices that we can do, various different practices that we can do to clear our field and to really allow the monkey mind to be in the back seat or in the trunk, not driving the vehicle in which we're in. And that is key. So camouflage, interestingly enough, is another medicine of Praying Mantis. It's very easily hidden in the trees. So understanding that we can easily be slippery and hide our resistances from ourselves. and understanding that it is so important to compassionately and kindly checking in with yourself and be self-aware of why you're saying yes or no to particular things, why you're resisting particular things. So understanding how that camouflage works, and there's always an in ways that I'm much better in recognizing my resistances. Through the mystery schools, I'm very good about inviting my students to work with their resistances. We talk a lot about that because that is what keeps us from greatness, from achieving whatever it is that we are here to achieve, that we can even fathom. It's so beautiful when I have clients or students that get to a place where they are just amazed that they never ever thought that they would like certain things or they would be good at certain things. I never thought I would be a good massage therapist. It never occurred to me to be a massage therapist until I was guided to do the training. I actually had carpal tunnel in both wrists. And once I did the 9-month massage therapy training, both my wrists were completely cured. And it's been like maybe 15, 16 years since I've graduated. And I don't work full time as a massage therapist, but I do plenty of work with my hands with clients. So yeah, it's very interesting how in my head I qualified myself as somebody that had wrist issues, and the truth is I don't, and I proved myself wrong. So I am so excited, and I really celebrate when my students or my clients get to prove themselves wrong, and I just make a big deal out of it, and it's a big celebration because it's kind of cool that you can transcend what your limited thoughts dictate you are. That's huge. That's just magnificent and worthy of celebration. And so learning to still the mind and draw greater powers that are within you is key to make that happen. So if you have resistance to yoga, qigong, tai chi, meditation, pranayama, maybe you are really good at weeding the garden. Maybe you can do mindful walking. Maybe you can wash dishes and do a mindful practice. There's so many things you can do. Ironing, just things that are repetitive, toning, creating sound, dancing. There are just so many different things that it can become a meditation, and it might be a little bit more challenging because you might not find a teacher on how to guide you in relationship to any of those things. You have to be really initiate those things yourself. You have to be very self-motivated, and you can totally do it. But if you want some help, there's so much out there that you can partake from. And if you have a Kundalini yoga teacher near you, I totally invite you to check him or her out and just make sure you are clear with boundaries, that you're taking a beginner class and you ask for some modifications if you don't quite understand what's happening. That can really allow you to have a wonderful time if you're a beginner and learn so much. It's an amazing practice. So highly recommend it for a gazillion different reasons. And so understanding that to receive insights, to connect with the higher realms, the lower 3 chakras, the lower triangle have to be super settled down. So you really have to work with breath of fire, for example, is phenomenal, and it works in the abdominal cavity. Any kind of creativity, any kind of dream work, any kind of journaling, creative writing, you have to have some level of stillness of your mind to have these kinds of practices. And so this particular animal can teach you this energy of, it just kind of hangs out by the trees, by the bushes, by the grass, and you can't even see it. Just about 2 days ago, I had one on the door of my studio here at the Beehive, and I was so grateful And here we are. It was actually before I drew the Praying Mantis card, but it was already showing up, and I was very excited about that. And so contemplation, dream work, and meditation are three very simple things that you can achieve via stillness. They're practices. They're not perfection. They're practices, and you just do the very best that you can. And it really allows you to awaken, to recognize and manifest whatever, to have the power of visualization. So these are all steps that takes you wherever you are willing and interested in moving toward. And that road can be very rocky. It can be very wavy, or it can be a straight arrow. It all depends on your personality, your willingness to, how much work you're willing to do for any and all of these things to happen. So it's really about what you're up to. The spiritual principle that we're working this week with is understanding. And understanding, in my book, I used to have a bad rap for understanding. It just felt that I was caving in, or that I was taking the easy way out, because I've had a history of allowing people to push me around and not really exercising my throat chakra and having a voice. So since very little, that was playing out for me. And when I started working with understanding, it freed me from having expectations. It allowed me to become a better listener and to acknowledge and see my side of it, but not expect everybody else to. And also, understanding is really allowing information to come forth. It is it's breathing through whatever it is going on and just giving room for new understandings to move through. It's allowing people to have space to do their own thing. And then it's not about giving excuses to folks. It's really about allowing yourself to see the other side of it. And that can free you and judgment in a challenging way. It's important to have judgment and discern, am I going to cross the street and not look? So judgment is a very important principle, and it can go haywire very, very quickly. So having the picture and not be clouded by emotions, not be self-deprecating, because that is a snowball that can just roll down the mountain very, very quickly. So understanding is really about accepting where people are at, accepting what their motivations are, so that you can then make choices. You can make a better understanding of where you're at and where you're willing to go. So it really allows you to use that Praying Mantis medicine of stillness, of I'm going to meditate about this. One of the things that changed my life was when I started to understand that whenever somebody asked me for something, I didn't have to say yes. For most of my life, I felt obligated to say yes, and then I hated myself later for it. And when I started to work with these principles and animal medicine and started to clarify things for myself, I embraced that I could pause, be still, and meditate about it and think about it. That's how sometimes I would put it to some people, because they thought that I'd be weird. Now meditation is a big thing, but 17 years ago, it was a little weird to say, I need to meditate about this. So it's really cool that now we're so far ahead that it's part of the lingo and embraced by everybody as part of conversation. So yay for us for being able to do that. And so recognizing the greater clarity of things is really something that only you can give to yourself when you step back and you chill, and you really not allow the monkey mind to regurgitate, because that is a pattern that most human beings can possibly have. And also working with discernment wisely. And discernment is another spiritual principle that goes hand in hand with understanding. Not really allowing yourself to rush into things, not going into guilt or fear or anxiety or any kind of troubling feelings or emotions. That really embraces the understanding of Praying Mantis and understanding. And by the way, I did not choose understanding. I got a card, and these all work really well together. And I swear it was not me choosing it. It's what wanted to show up for us all. And I'm so grateful that you're here to partake in this. So thank you so much. And the essential oil that wanted to show up for us today is a very simple, very, one could call it very plain, and it's lemon. So I have lemon everywhere. I do a lot of cleaning with lemon here at the studio. I use different green products, and I put lemon essential oil, sometimes orange, sometimes peppermint. But lemon, I'm always low on lemon because I use it a lot. It's a really amazing oil. It's very clean and crisp and fresh. It's really great if you have a therapeutic grade oil like I do. I can actually put lemon in my water, cold water, and you can drink it. It's really, really delightful. So lemon is really amazing because it's so great for cleaning, for scrubbing. It actually removes oily things from surfaces. That also applies in the quality of it for an emotional or spiritual connotation. So lemon is amazing to release guilt, heavy duty, greasy, sticky kinds of emotions. It's great for confusion because it's very crisp, it's very clearing. It's amazing for insecurities, and it's a very inexpensive essential oil, and it's one that you really have to, when you open the bottle, you have to use it. You can't just save it forever. For example, frankincense and many others, especially because it's a resin, it will last for a very long time if it's by itself in a bottle. Lemon, because it's made from the peel of the lemon, it not so much, so you really have to use it up, and it's great. And so why not? So it's a really good one for mental fatigue. So if you feel fatigued, it would be fantastic to have in a diffuser. It would be amazing to have in as a roll-on, just with coconut oil or fractionated coconut oil or any other oil that you have, and put it in a roll-on and just take it with you. It refreshes your mind. It's great in the base of the skull. It also is phenomenal to instill focus. Like I said, it's crisp, so it brings you clarity. It's very revitalizing. And it can be, just wake you up. It alerts you. So it's a really beautiful choice for us to have. And the affirmation for the lemon is, why is it so easy for me to create joy? It's a very yellow is the color of joy. I actually have painted my family room at home a very light yellow, so that when you walk in the room, it's pure joy. And sometimes our families can be very challenging, so it's a really good color therapy to have in a place like a family room. So it's very joyous tonality when I smell it. And it's phenomenal for the crown chakra, for the solar plexus. That is the yellow is the color of the solar plexus. So again, it's a very clearing. It's about, an affirmation would be, I am confident, or the affirmation could be, why am I so confident? Why is it so easy for me to be confident, to be clear, to be crisp in my thoughts and my deeds and my actions? So those are great affirmations and affirmations. And really working on creating joy with everything that you release, everything that you embody. Joy is such a important spiritual principle to embrace. And so here's lemon for you. And so interestingly enough, when I was tuning into what to wear, I was really feeling, I was vibing the color yellow. So I have in my ears, I have golden labradorite, but the star here is really my amazing flower of life that's made of Yellow Beryl. I just absolutely love Yellow Beryl. It's amazing for stress management. So if you're working with crystals, they all have particular personalities. So the Yellow Beryl, it's amazing to shed unwanted baggage, stuff that you've been working on and now you're just ready to release it. It's amazing for activating your solar plexus, of course, because it's Yellow Beryl. It is the color yellow, and it's great for magical work, for scrying. So if you have definitely for scrying, you definitely need a larger piece, and that's where you're staring at it and you're meditating, and again, kind of working in with Praying Mantis, bringing that stillness, and that's where you start to work with divining and getting information so that you can actualize your potential, you can actualize this new breath of empowerment that is in your solar plexus. It's amazing for calming the mind, for grounding, for clearing you. So it matches lemon actually quite beautifully. It's a very positive stone. It discourages anxiety and depression and being boggled down with overwhelming emotions and feelings. So it's very uplifting. Again, just like lemon, it's very clearing. So it's kind of nice working with things like stones and different senses, different techniques, and different things, that different modalities that you can come together, so there's diversity in our spiritual growth. And also actualizing your potential, that's a big deal. So this is really cool in that way. It reawakens actually love in partnerships that you have that are maybe a little bit opaque, they're not really bright and shining. So this is a stone that instills joy and a punch of unconditional love in relationships that get a little stagnant. And it promotes purity of being. It promotes the ability to manifest your potential with vibrancy and lightheartedness. It's really amazing as a flower of life, because the flower of life is the connection with the Christ consciousness. It's that perfect balance of the feminine and the masculine, and it's in so many different forms throughout the world, through the ages. The flower of life has incredible activation as a sigil and as a sacred geometry piece. So this Vogel is very dear to me, this particular cut. And it creates that pocket of divine order, understanding all that you are. It teaches initiative and independence. It's the ability to really crank up your potential. If you already have something that you're working on with your potential, this brings it to a much higher elevated state. So I'm going to give you a chant right now. We're going to do it for a brief amount of time, and it's one of my favorite to work with my monkey mind. So I'm going to get my Shruti box, and I will be very happy to share this with you, and I will have this written down. So if you choose to join me, you can simply close your eyes and sit back and allow your posture to be nice and tall. Release your shoes maybe, or sit on the floor, sit against on the wall on the floor, or whatever you're comfortable with, just not somewhere super soft. And chin is in, just opening your shoulders and starting to inhale from the bottom of the belly, bring that inhalation way up, all the way up into your clavicular chamber up here. On the exhales, you're going to chant. So when you're doing any kind of chant, you are doing pranayama. And then when you're done with the chant, you're going to fill up the belly again. So filling up the very bottom of the belly, all the way up through your pectoral chamber, up to clavicular chamber, and then you fully empty as you are chanting. So here comes the sound. I'm going to do it gently. And we're going to chant Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. And if you'd like to sit, if you'd like to do Gyan Mudra, palm up, you can do that and just rest your hand in your knee or in your thighs. And receiving a huge inhale from the bottom of your belly way up into your clavicular chamber, slowing down that breath, slowing down the exhalation, just releasing, allowing all the breath to come out. And when we begin the chanting, you're going to fully inhale and the sound will be your exhalation. Deep inhale and letting it go. And big inhale again. Letting it go. Deep inhale. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Guru Deve Name. Shanti. as I inhale gratitude and I exhale understanding, recognizing there's only one source, one creator of everything. This abundant energy, this understanding, compassionate, kind energy. It is everywhere all at once. It is within each one of us, including you, wherever you are. So wherever you're surrounded by whatever seemingly challenging energies are, they are truly pure opportunities for your mastery, for your grounding of your inner beauty. So I anchor in that mindfulness and stillness is within you. It is ready to blossom, to open up, to crack you open into the radiant beauty that you are. So much celebration for this moment where we get to exchange these energies. This vibrational sound can be very healing, and it is so indeed. It is the voice, the word, anchoring in that you have the word within, where you get to practice, where you get to open up your solar plexus, and where you get to open up your solar plexus to so much newness. Your mastery of yourself is at hand, and I invoke these energies of lemon to crisply clear, to allow, to clear the path for you to really connect your dots joyfully, allowing the prosperity of your self-assurance that you are here on purpose, that your focus is being fine-tuned, and that all that you need is here. All the purity of the inner child is within you to connect you to your creativity so that you can abundantly bask in your own very bright, sunny light. Releasing these words with so much gratitude for this exchange, gratitude for your awareness, for your awakening, for your clearing, for your activation of your highest potential and divinity within. So much gratitude for this voice that is my voice, that is your voice, that is our collective voices awakening in joy and seemingly turbulence. We're all being squeezed, and it is the divine time to wake up, to smell the fresh lemon, and to embrace freedom through you, as you, from you. Many, many blessings that release many, many blessings as I release these words into the void, knowing they're fulfilled to the highest of us all. Sat Nam, I wish you much weaving of your wisdom and buzzing all of the joy that you have within throughout. Namaste, Sat Nam. Bye-bye, and much, much love.